This is why you can't trust everything you see on YouTube.
This is the heel stone, and it is a foot.
Do you know, it's hard to believe that Roger is the sperm that won, isn't it?
They think Stonehenge is some kind of celestial observatory.
Yeah? And what do you think it is, Roger? I bet you're scared now. I've got a feather as well.
This is hysterical.
Oh, thanks. I'm a bit embarrassed now. You know, I do try to make my videos funny, but it's always nice when somebody else points out that they're funny.
What's a heel stone? It indicates a foot.
Hang on just a minute, Roger. You're not honestly expecting people to believe that this is an actual
Foot.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's what you were going to say. But if the heel stone makes that ancient rock a foot, does that mean that you think a hot dog is a dachshund in a bun? Please subscribe.
Let me show you what the heel stone is.
Oh, yeah, you can show us in a second. But before you do that, I just wanted to let these lovely people know that my Patreon has been revamped and it's now packed with exclusive content just for you. Get a behind the scenes look at how I run the channel, plus personal insights and loads more. So if you want to get to know the real me and support the channel, head over there. Right, back to Roger and his giant foot.
Okay, my friends, get ready. This is the heel stone, and it is a foot. These are the toes. And I can say that with 100% certainty.
Well, you'll get no argument from me, Roger. You can say it with 100% certainty, but saying it isn't the same as being able to prove it with 100% certainty.
You see these little spots right there? You see those little spots? There's one here, and they're up on the ends of these toes as well. These toes are eroded, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Do you know, it's hard to believe that Roger is the sperm that won, isn't it?
But this was a major blood supply, and these are the veins and arteries at the ends of the toes.
Once a man, twice a child. Now, I know that saying implies that as a person ages, they revert to a childlike level of dependency, but I had no idea that it also included mental capacity. Come on, Roger, you're a grown man. It's a rock.
Now, it appears that this was laying on its side this way when it died in the Great Flood.
Right, just so we can all be clear that we understand exactly what it is you're saying, this giant person who was made of rock was taking a nap, and while he was taking a nap, he was killed by a flood that there is absolutely no evidence of. Okay?
And it is because that's flat as a pancake. And all of my stuff is like that. And I have stuff that's DNA tested, CAT scanned, everything else. And most of them have a flat side.
Now, Roger, this foot, is it still attached to a leg? And is that leg still attached to a body, which I assume is all buried under Stonehenge? And if that is the case, then why don't they just dig it up and prove that it's a giant person?
So I imagine it was laying like this.
Oh, you imagine, do you, Roger? Okay, well, we would never have guessed.
This, I believe, was where the vein came down, and it's the black blood. Now let me show you why I make these statements, and I can make them stick.
I've got an opinion on why you make these statements, Roger. It's because you are the king of pareidolia. You see what you want to see. Yes, that rock does resemble a foot from that angle, but it doesn't mean that it is a foot.
Okay, my friends, this is really crazy, but it is just a fact.
Crazy, yes. A fact, no. Because a fact is something that's known or proven to be true. And you don't know that this is a foot, and you certainly can't prove it is, because it isn't.
Everybody knows about Stonehenge, and it's they think is something to do with solar alignments. Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, this should be good because nobody actually knows for certain what purpose Stonehenge serves. So I can't wait to hear what Roger's got to say about it.
It said every midsummer's night, 10,000s of people gather at Stonehenge to celebrate and witness the rising sun in alignment with the heel stone. The heel stone, standing way outside of the circle. 6 months later, a smaller crowd congregates around the heel stone to witness the winter sun setting within the stone circle.
Hang on a second, why are you putting so much emphasis on the word heal? Are you hoping that if you emphasize the word heal, people may actually start to believe what you're saying? Because I can do that as well. It's the heal stone.
Well, let me tell you what the heel stone is and what the structure is.
Well, you've already told us what you think the heel stone is, and you think it's a foot. And as far as the structure goes, it's a prehistoric megalithic structure on Salisbury Plain in England.
Okay, this is the heel stone ditch. That's where the heel stone is. Against the heel stone ditch is rammed chalk-filled stone hole 97, whose missing stone is known as heel stone's twin. It's 2 feet, and that's the twin. One of them's missing, and it was called the Twin Stone.
Oh, come on, Stonehenge. Don't make him any worse than he already is. Couldn't you have just lied and said there was only ever one heel stone?
All right, don't forget the blood at the tips of the toes. Here it is right here. See the tips of these are the bloods. The artery comes down to red, and it comes down back to the blue. You see right here? Same thing. There's just no question about it. It's just zero question about this. None.
Now, I know that Roger isn't strictly a conspiracy theorist. He's just an old guy with some really bizarre interests. But Roger, don't you think that if there was even the slightest possibility that this was the remains of an ancient race of gigantic people, that it would be all over the news? People would be falling over each other to be the first one to actually prove it. But no, this sort of stuff is reserved for people like you on YouTube, where you can literally publish whatever you like. And you'll always find some idiots who'll believe you.
Now, this is where you say, oh, Roger, they couldn't be that big. Yes, they could. This actually, Stonehenge, the guy was a puppy. This right here is a hair follicle.
Yeah, of course it is. Silly me.
All right? Here's what a hair follicle is right here. Now, I don't know what kind of creature this was from, but I don't really care. It's 2 inches wide. Ours is 2/1000ths of an inch wide. This is 1,000 times bigger than a human hair. All right, so if it was human, which I don't know, the guy would have been a mile tall.
Now, this is really hard to visualize, so I've come up with this handy-dandy illustration just to show you how completely insane Roger's statement is. So if I was a mile tall and I stepped over the English Channel into France, headed for Paris, and then looked for the Eiffel Tower, this is what the Eiffel Tower would look like compared to me if I was a mile tall. And you think this is reality, Roger? And I've got to ask, where did this race of giant people live? Did they have homes? And where are the remains of those homes which would be big enough to accommodate a person who on average is 1 mile tall?
Stonehenge, a little puppy guy, 50, 100 feet tall, whatever. I have him taller than that right here on my own property.
You live with giants? Why haven't you ever shown us one of these giants then? And if they're on your property and you've got, for example, a foot or a hand sticking up out of the ground, why have you never excavated that area to prove us wrong once and for all?
Now, I have other ones here on my own property. I had DNA tested and CAT scanned.
You had an actual giant DNA tested and CAT scanned. Where did you get the CAT scan done? How bloody big was that machine?
Oh, don't forget, I discovered mud fossils. I named mud fossils mud fossils. I did all the research years and years ago. And this is one of the first things I found was this fingertip.
You know, that's the first honest thing I have ever heard Roger say. He did actually coin the term mud fossil.
That whole thing is a fingernail. When I first found this, it was completely perfect. There was no broken piece here. But I could see that there was no way I was going to get any blood out of this.
Oh, so you can't get blood out of a stone then, Roger? Tell me you came up with that as well.
See that? That's just one of those little things right in between the bones. This thing was gigantic. I mean, it was good size, not anywhere close to the ones that I have here on my own property. The one I have on my own property is not this big, because this is a fingertip.
There are two types of stone at Stonehenge, the larger Saracen stones and the smaller blue stones. Now, the Saracen stones are a type of silcrete rock which is found scattered naturally across southern England. Now, Roger, are all those stones the remains of giants, or just the ones at Stonehenge and, of course, the ones you found on your property?
You see that's the fingernail. That's the fingertip. The reason this is all green stuff, because there's blood still. Wherever there was good blood supply, and the fingers and stuff are saturated with blood.
So the green stuff on the stones isn't moss then, Roger, it's something else? I'm only asking.
I mean, they did this somehow. They did that somehow. That was not just fell there by accident. This was a memorial to a giant.
So Stonehenge is a memorial to giants built from pieces of giants.
He was probably the guy that ruled this area. He died, and somehow the smaller giants made a memorial to him. An average person's not going to be able to do this. If they didn't have any kind of equipment, that's not going to happen.
Now, there are loads of theories about how Stonehenge was built, from human muscle and simple tools to water transport, greased trackways, even stone balls. Maybe it was ramps and levers. And then you've got the fringe theories like aliens did it. But none of them even mention giants, Roger, sorry. So I'll pass it over to you. What are your theories about how Stonehenge became what it is today? Why didn't I just say, what are your theories about how Stonehenge was built? Anyway, you know exactly what I mean. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to check out the Patreon if you can, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, you're still here then. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something new. If you did, then you'll probably enjoy this video as well. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you're new. And I will see you all again very soon, or in a few minutes if you do decide to watch this recommended video. Love you, bye.